You're not good enough. I didn't hear these words from a teacher or a classmate. I heard them in my own head. Every time I failed a spelling test, every time I stumbled while speaking out loud, every time I gave my best and still fell short. That voice in my head whispered, "You're never gonna make it and you're never gonna be enough." Let me ask you something. Raise your hand, at least in your heart, if you ever feel like no matter how hard you try, you'll never be enough. Yeah, me too. My struggle didn't start with a big clash. It started quietly in the third grade. While my classmates read fluently and wrote effortlessly, I struggled. Words blurred on the page and my writing lagged behind. When my teacher called on to me to read out loud, my heart would race, knowing I'd stumble over words others found simple. During dictation, while my classmates finished within minutes, I scrambled to catch up, only to realize my sentences were riddled with mistakes. By fourth grade, my parents stepped in. They took me to educational experts, hoping to find some clarity. They thought maybe I had a learning disability, something that could explain why I found reading and writing so challenging. They hoped a diagnosis could unlock the type of support I truly needed. But underneath their hope was also fear. Tare Zameen Par, a movie of a dyslexic child misunderstood and cast aside. They couldn't help but wonder, is this what her life is going to be if I were ever diagnosed? And if not, then what was wrong? So I went through the tests, the endless assessments, questions after questions in that cold room. And then finally came the results. Nothing. No explanation, just a polite reassurance that I didn't qualify for help. At first, I finally felt relieved. Maybe I was just normal, maybe I was just like everyone else. But that relief didn't last. If there was no explanation, then why was I struggling? Was I just not enough? Was I to blame? And that's when my struggle became invisible. There was no name for what I was feeling. I was just the girl who couldn't keep up no matter how hard she tried. And I wasn't failing because I didn't care. I was failing despite how much I cared, and that type of failure is the loneliest. I still remember sitting in the classroom during tests, watching the clock tick, just hoping for a few more minutes, just a few more seconds, but I never qualified for that type of help. My hands scribbled answers I had barely time to read, and later, each one of those red marks slowly started to confirm the story I had started to believe about myself. You're not enough. Then came the whispers. Classmates only saw the stumbles, the silences, the stutters. They called me slow or dumb, not meaning to be cruel, but still cut deep. I wore a mask. I laughed when I wanted to cry, and I smiled when I was feeling miserable. I made them like me because that felt safer than letting them see the parts of me I couldn't explain. They liked that version of me, the fake Sanjana, but I didn't, and that hurt the most. Everyone dreams of making an impact, right? For me, that dream was leadership. I remember sitting in this very own auditorium back in 5th grade, watching the seniors on stage. House captains, head girls, confident, calm, they walked with that natural ease, they spoke with power, everyone listened when they did. They honestly seemed gifted. They had the grades, the presence, the confidence, and I remember thinking, I'd never be like them, never. Because I didn't have their grades, I didn't have their voice, and I could barely pronounce half the words they used. But most of all, I believed I had nothing worth leading with. But I was wrong. In 9th grade, when the leadership roles finally opened up, I waited and I waited. But my name didn't even make the list. The same voice came back. But this time, it was 10 times louder. you're not enough, you're never gonna make it, and you're never achieving what you want. I started blaming everything. The educational experts who didn't give me a name, the teachers who didn't see me, and even the universe. But when all the noise faded, something inside me stayed lit, a tiny flicker that whispered, "Try again." So I did. I looked up at the people I had once put on a pedestal, and I saw something I hadn't before. They had their own problems, they had their own scars, they had their own battles. And someone really close to me once told me, life isn't fair. It has its ups and downs. You don't always start from the same place. But what you do with where you are, that's what makes the difference. This was the realization. I didn't have to be them. I had to be me, a better version of me. And this was the beginning of becoming. So I worked hard, really hard. I went on stage, anchored events, even though I was scared. I started new projects, volunteered, talked to the teachers, only to learn how to lead from the sidelines. And I worked hard, and I studied hard, really hard, but not to prove others wrong, but to prove myself right. And somewhere, I saw something had slowly changed. I wasn't trying to be perfect anymore. I was trying to be better. Not better than someone else, but better than the version of me who once believed she couldn't. And then, there it was. On a glowing screen in quiet black letters, Sanjana Patil, Blue House Captain. Timed in pause, it held its breath. In that single line, I saw every chapter I had lived in silence. The nights no one saw, the tears no one heard, and the battles I fought within. I wasn't chosen because I shined the brightest or dazzled with perfection. I was chosen because I stayed, because I stumbled forward when quitting would have been easier, because I learned to carry doubt in one hand and courage in another. The title House Captain was never a crown for me. It was a mirror, and in its reflection, I didn't see her who was the strongest or the bravest. I saw her, the girl who kept going, the girl who finally saw herself as worthy, not polished, not perfect, but enough. So maybe not having that diagnosis was the hidden blessing. For others, a label brings fairness and support, but my journey was different. Instead, I grew, not by giant leaps, but one brave step at a time. And one of the most beautiful chapters of my journey was when I stepped beyond myself. What started as a small gesture grew into deep connections. The girl who once froze at spelling tests now stood steady, leading others forward. The voice that once shook with fear now carried hope, strength, and conviction. I took the one thing that held me back and transformed it into something that lifted others forward with me. In leading, I found myself. In giving voice to others, I finally heard my own, strong, loud, and clear. So, what changed? Not my talent, not my IQ. What changed was my relationship with struggle. I stopped seeing it as something to hide and started seeing it as something to embrace. Here's what I wish someone had told me back then. You don't need a label to validate your struggle. You don't need permission to grow from it. Struggle doesn't make you less, it makes you real, it makes you human. And when you fight it with courage, it makes you unstoppable. Maybe someone here tonight is carrying a silent struggle. Maybe you have been told by the world that everyone is racing ahead when you're lagging behind. To you, I want to say, you're not stuck, you're becoming. The difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't talent, it's resilience. It's the refusal to let failure define you. Every time you try again despite failure, you grow. Every time you speak despite fear, you build strength. And every time you keep going, when quitting would have been easier, you are rewriting your own story. If I'd ever received that certificate, my journey would have been different. But instead, I built my own path. And in doing so, I discovered a resilience I never knew I had. Struggle now has a new nickname, Perseverance, one that I carry with me into every classroom, every conversation, and every dream I hope to achieve one day. And yes, I'm still not perfect, I still stumble, and I still make mistakes. But now, I smile when I do, because I've walked through that fire and came out stronger. And if I can do that, so can you. So do me a favor now. The next time that voice in your head says, you're not good enough and you're never gonna make it, look it in the eye, smile, and say, watch me. Thank you.